using it in a
It's
certain
not
setting?
an station.
Okay,
We have used a term which can be easily used by village people. First, I
of
had
course.
something Akshara. Sometimes they can't pronounce, and so that is the
That's
reason why
perfectly
it's
understandable.
something easy for them. Yeah.
Yes. So if you can tell me a little bit about how you're using Alexa in that setup, that was my first question. And the second question I had was, you mentioned the content that you have, and it's a great idea that you are looking for voice technology rather than an app to reach people. If is there a sample of the content that I can see? I completely agree with your analysis that there might be some content that should be shared in a more simplistic or probably a basic format, and something that's more technical probably should not be shared yet. But is there a sample that I can see of both kinds of content that will give me a sense of how you are envisioning this content? That was the second point. And the third thing that I wanted to give a little brief about how Alexa works currently when we look at answering questions. So we have two kinds of questions when it comes to disability. One is where someone is asking a very factual question. Perhaps they're asking something as simple as what are learning disabilities or what is autism. uh, they might be asking something slightly more complicated, but it's still in the information factual answer space. Then the second type of questions that we get are people who turn to Alexa either for empathy or for a safe space where they can discuss. So those are more personal, more subjective questions. So someone saying that I'm autistic or I'm on the autism spectrum, or someone saying that I have a learning disability, or I stammer, I have a speech disability, for instance. uh, there they are probably not looking for a solution. A lot of times it's a sense of asking for help, maybe in a more subdued way, because sometimes these topics can be difficult to bring up in everyday conversations with others. So we have seen Alexa be sort of a safe space, particularly with children. We have seen children turn to Alexa where they're trying to make sense of what is happening in the world. We've seen children asking questions around the pandemic, the death that they might have seen during second wave. So what these might be difficult topics or difficult conversations for them. And we've seen them turn to Alexa because Alexa is non-judgmental, and at best she'll give you an answer that you will understand and you will like. At worst she will not have an answer, but she doesn't judge you. So we have seen that aspect, the second aspect of subjective questions that aren't purely factual also. So anyway, those are the two kinds of questions that we deal with in Alexa. Currently, how we answer them is for the factual questions, we source them from everywhere. We have a lot of content providers that we tap into. Some of them are what we call web-based question answer. For example, we take responses from everything from Wikipedia to Topper to Byju's to Apollo Clinic and lots of different sources. So I was trying to understand one final thing is, have you tried asking some of these questions to Alexa? And what was your initial reaction to the kind of response or the information that she gave you? Those were my three questions.
So I'll go with the first one. It is too premature for me to say how effective is Ask Alexa for inclusive education, because we have just started trying it out. How it would work in one of the learning stations, that is Nanda Gokula, which is supported by Amazon. Uh, the concept is so convincing to the Department of Education and also Ministry of Education. And Department of Education has already included setting up 74 such learning stations in the current budget year. So they have already gone ahead to support inclusive education. So that is the reason why we are, working at two levels. One is to prepare a handbook, and we are also on a research mode. So the research mode, we want to really try it out and see how the whole thing works. Ask Alexa is one part of the many inputs in learning station. So it is not the only one. So it is one part of. So what we as you said something which is very very important for children with disabilities. One is non-judgmental. That is something very important because children they need repetition and they want someone non-judgmental, and in a relaxed environment they should be able to ask questions. Okay, this is one aspect of it. The second part of it is the questions what children are asking in Ask Alexa. It is something to explore the environment. So they are asking anything related to environment, and Alexa is giving uh, answers which they come prepared with list of questions. This is a weekend learning. As I said, we are in a research mode. So children, we ask them to think the whole week the questions they need to ask Alexa. So we want them to explore. So that is the main purpose. And they make a list of questions. So, and they sit in groups, five children in each group, and that is graded from third standard and above. So they sit, and also there's a peer support. Third and fourth we mix together so that they can get support from each other. And the questions which is already written, they look at ನನ್ನ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. They ask the Alexa. Alexa may give any answer, okay, depending on how they ask questions. So Alexa takes the cue word and then answers. Okay. So sometimes children they have difficulty in say English, and they are also using the Kannada Alexa. We have started say looking at Kannada Alexa. Kannada, yeah, there is Kannada Alexa. So
We
that
don't
is
have Kannada Alexa, Dr. Rao.
there is. There is Kannada Alexa. Alexa can answer questions in Kannada.
No, like I'm part of the Alexa team. We don't have Kannada
Share-
support. We have
It is like
Hindi and English.
what it does is I think it translates the questions, okay, and gives the answer, but not the entire content. So it can it can start the communication. We'll share the link because we are using Kannada Alexa.
Yes, please. Yeah, because
It's
we
surprise.
haven't launched Kannada in India. I'm very surprised because I know we play Kannada songs. Like you asked for Dr. Rajkumar, Puneet Rajkumar songs very happily. She'll play some of the Bhagavad all of that. Also, she will play. She'll recognize those words, but she doesn't respond in Kannada as far as I know. But please share what you have.
Share because it was given. In fact, we did a lot of googling to know more about Alexa. Alexa, no, there are some basic Kannada keywords which it can take, and it also can answer. Like it can answer like ಏನ್ ಸಮಾಚಾರ, no? It can answer very well. ಈ ದಿನದ ಸಮಾಚಾರ ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ, no? It can answer. So I'll share the link. In fact, children are enjoying listening to Kannada, and they are also making an attempt to ask questions in English. No,
Yes,
both are
please.
happening. Yeah.
Yes, please, because I'm part of the Alexa founding team in India and we haven't launched in Kannada. I'm so surprised to hear this.
Also share the video links. We have made that. We have
Yes,
captured
please.
a lot of video
Yes,
links.
please.
So then
I'm
they
just looking to see if we have Kannada skills, but yeah, please go ahead.
it's also multilingual. It can also answer in Hindi. So
Yeah, we have launched only English and Hindi as a full support language. For other languages like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Bengali, etc., we have very limited support in the sense Alexa can recognize movie names, certain words, and things like that, but it isn't what we call a full support. Uh, like in Hindi, you speak in Hindi, she understands in Hindi, she responds in Hindi. That isn't available for our other languages yet. We are still very much exploring what happens in those other languages. So I'm super thrilled to know that if she's responding something in Kannada,
Especially,
I definitely want to see that.
yeah. See, for ice breaking, Alexa is quite effective because children are finding comfortable to speak with Alexa because it can say respond to some of the questions what they ask in Kannada, not all. Then they are also making an attempt to ask questions in English. That is part of it, which I will share. The second part is like when after writing the questions when they come with the written questions to ask Alexa, which in the beginning we are asking them they can ask any question. So that is, it is not curriculum related because we don't want them to get the feeling that it is a second set of school. So we want them to come and enjoy, learning. So the questions, what are the answers? What Alexa gives, they write it down. Then we ask them, let us find out whether Alexa has given the correct answer on internet. So that is the third verification they do. So they go to the internet and find out what internet gives the answers for the same questions. Then they go to the class teacher. That is the fourth level, because we also want to build the capacity of class teachers. And so they go back with the same questions and answers given by Alexa, given by internet, to teacher and ask the same questions, and they also write down what answers the class teacher gives. These four cycles we have planned deliberately, consciously to see that there's a link between the learning station and what happens in the classroom. So, and the parents they know because they do homework at home, writing questions. We also ask them, no, ask your grandfather, ask your mother, write down. So we want that partnership with the community. Then they go, they think and they come out, and then they go to the internet and verify. Then they go to the teacher, and through that we have the process of learning, which is very much essential for all children, but especially for children with disabilities. We need acquisition, repetition, consolidation process that to take place for consolidation of learning that takes place. Okay, that is how it is planned, and we have some base once as I said it is Alexa and internet is are the two tools which are very active. We also have a library of materials.
Dr. Rao, just one question. Where do the children use Alexa? Do they use it on their phones on the Alexa app, or do you have an eco device
We
in
have
your place?
eco device, we have
You have an eco
eco
device.
dot, and it is given because it is a rural area, because we wanted to try it out in a remote area, also to influence the government that it works. Like if we try it out in Bangalore, no, they say, yeah, everything works in Bangalore, no, it doesn't work in the villages. So we tried, we are trying in a remote area. Okay. So where if there is no internet, we are using hotspot, and we want to, it is more to convince the government it works, that there are ways of doing it. So
Got it. Can you also tell me a little bit about the profile of the children who come to these centers, Dr. Rao? Are they typically disabled children, or do you also have, because you mentioned these are inclusion learning centers and they work on weekends, do they have kids of all abilities also?
we have both, because as a policy we don't go for exclusive, then it becomes a special school. So we have been working for the last 40 years not to have vertical models. So this is a horizontal spread out model where all children they come. When we say all children, we say put all in capitals. So all children, leaving no child behind. And deliberately, consciously, we make sure that children with diverse needs are part of this group. We make extra effort. So the physical environment, it is made out of ship containers. So we have used the old ship containers to build a learning station. So it is a very low cost one, but it's very beautiful. You must come and see that.
So fascinating, Dr. Rao. Where
You can
is
see it from
this?
Amazon. It is near Magadi. It's about 1 hour
Oh,
drive.
okay. My family, like part of my family comes from Magdi. Uh,
Oh, I see. Okay, that's
yeah.
very interesting. So this is
Yeah.
near Savandurga. So
Oh, okay.
the old ship container has been converted into a learning station. Okay.
Okay.
So
This is
I,
on the way to Savandurga from the highway or in Savandurga
yes,
village itself?
Savandurga highway. Yeah. Oh, you are quite
Oh,
familiar with Bangalore.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like I said,
Timshi.
very familiar. Part of my family comes from Magdi and Tirumale and
Oh,
Savandurga. Like,
you are
yeah,
a local,
very.
like, yeah, I don't have to explain that. So, and most of the children, they come from extreme poverty. So that is the economic profile.
And how
Because
many children come there, Dr. Rao, right
oh
now?
my goodness, that is, I mean, I didn't really expect such a overwhelming response within, say, 2 weeks. The children, and we don't want children to feel that this is a part of the school. So there are many measures we take. I can go on with the activities, like even what they want to ask, explore on internet. We have pickup cards. Of course, it is linked with NCRT learning outcomes. That is for our consumption. But when they pick up cards, they choose. So what? And when they choose, there are numpty number of games which they are going to play, but they are all linked with their curriculum and learning outcomes. So for this is how it is planned, that it is you know they should learn in a joyful way. And we also have built, like I was talking about children with disabilities, the environment is fully accessible. So there is a washroom which is accessible, the entry is accessible, everything is accessible to children. And we have the kind of support we need for children with disabilities, supportive materials, assistive technology, all this is available because we have a lot of expertise in that area, working with children with disabilities. So that is supported. So we have children uh, with say with Down syndrome. We have a child with hearing loss. We have a child with muscular dystrophy. So we have quite a number of children who have started coming. The There is a overwhelming response from children and parents. Okay, teachers, they are saying, why don't you do the same setup in the school? Okay. So we are leaving that part to the government, because just making one is it is just a tiny drop in the ocean. So we want the government to do that. That is why we are in constant touch with the state project director for Samagra Shiksha. So and they have already included. Of course, UNICEF is also supporting the education department. So 74 learning stations, it has already gone into the budget. Every year they will be adding 74. So for a period of 5 years. Then the rural development and Panchayat Raj, they want to add learning station to 5,600 libraries, which are available at the Taluk Panchayat level.
Got
So,
it.
so that they want to go ahead with that. So there is a lot of say scope for scaling up.
What can you also try and tell me, Dr. Rao, what is the role of CBR Network, your organization, in this? I know you've just started this one center near Savandurga. So, how are you looking at scaling? How do you interface with the government?
I
It will
think I
just
should
help me to see how what else I can do to help you, not just with the getting
sorry.
answers on Alexa,
I
but
need
I can
to.
also help more.
Oh, sorry. I should have shared about Amazon supported project. Well, that is something very important because this is one of the projects. See, with Amazon, we are planning one very major activity, which I will show you in say in a minute's time. A, a portal for A to Z disability. So it is the International Resource Center on Inclusive Education and Community-Based Rehabilitation, which has everything related to disability, including a digital library, a partnership marketplace for NGOs, for the government to to share their information. Then we have Ask Tina is towards inclusive education, where A to Z information on disability of RPWD Act, 25 types of disability, and related, that has been given. And every month on the lines of TED Talks, we organize one international lecture from experts from India and from the global level, and one workshop which aims to build the capacity of parents and grassroots level workers. So this every month that is organized under this project. And digital library has both the video library and also PDF books, handbooks on all aspects of disability. And there's also multimedia where we have captured rehabilitation from Papua New Guinea to Guyana. So we have captured everything, and we are sharing. All these materials are all developed by CBR Network for our Bangalore University programs, because we had a tie-up with Bangalore University to run postgraduate and diploma courses in the field of rehabilitation for 10 years. So we have developed a wealth of material. We also work with University of Washington, Seattle. So getting a lot of technology from across the globe. I was also chairing the World Bank's Global Partnership for Disability and Development. I've seen the kind of resources that are there. So how to bring it and make changes at the grassroots level is our primary concern. So in Amazon supported project, this is one of the major one, that is the International Resource Center. Then we have another project, that is Nandagopala Learning Station. The third is we have a digital library, International Resource Center. It's a physical, which is meant for people like researchers, media, policymakers to come and access materials, okay, related to disability. So first we started as a physical one. Now we have gone to online resource center, but also supported with physical, because some of the things which you have to show them the technology, that is not that is not possible on virtual level. So that will be done in the physical center. A similar movement we are looking at both in Delhi and Nagaland. In Nagaland, we'll be working closely with the government of Nagaland, a similar one, okay, to look at creating the implementation of National Education Policy, Chapter 6 on inclusive education. So CBR Network, we are working for the last 40 years in this field, and have been promoting a philosophy called community-based rehabilitation and inclusive education. Now, inclusive education, now it has become an integral part of the policy, so it is no longer a new one. So a lot of technology has been developed. So we are trying to put it to reach out to the rural areas. My work has been, by and large, has been in rural India.
Got
So
it. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. I think I just had that one other question. Have you tried asking Alexa about disabilities, and what was your feedback? Did she have answers?
oh, she has. She has. In fact, she has answers everything related to American Disability Act, and everything related to American accommodations, legislations, assistive technology, accessibility. They have really loaded all that information into Ask Alexa. What Alexa, right now, what I see is it has no information related to disability in Indian context. In India, and I would also say Asia. So that we have to just feed in. Otherwise, it has a lot of information. In fact,
Got it.
the American Disability Act, Ask Alexa, I just have to go with chapters. No, it knows everything. So we have tried out that part. That I think they must have been working a lot on that. So I see a lot of
So
information.
I can give a little background to why or how that happens. I will also take 2 minutes to talk about what I work on. So I have been with Alexa in India since before we launched in India. I was part of the team that sort of launched Alexa in India. And exactly like you mentioned, one of our biggest challenges was that Alexa had been in the US for already nearly 4 years when we launched in India. So some of the features or information available on Alexa has always been more in US and couple of European countries that had launched before India did. And that is a gap that we've been trying to close. We do much better now than when we launched in 2018. We just completed 4 years of Alexa in India right now. And over time, we've tried to bridge that gap. It isn't perfect a lot of times, not just with disability, with a lot of features or subjects. in the US, we definitely have some features that roll out faster than in India. However, in the last few months, so just to take a step back, for about 2 years now, the Alexa India team has been working pretty closely in a lot of community-based projects across India. So we have a pretty large pilot working with the Bastar District Administration in Chhattisgarh. Again, very rural area, very remote areas, tribal population, where we are present in about 1,000 odd schools with eco devices, and we train teachers on how to use Alexa for making their own classrooms and school environment more interactive and to get more information. We work with the elderly, we work with people with disabilities. We also work with certain other geographies like Kutch or rural Maharashtra, where the need is slightly different. Particularly, say in parts of rural Maharashtra, they have access to information easily, but what they are looking for is how do children develop the confidence to speak English? Like that. That is their concern in certain schools that we work. So we've been working with all of that. Over the last few months, we've sort of consolidated all these different projects that were being run into a single program that we internally call Alexa in the community, which is like Amazon in the community. What is the impact that we can have in the community? How do we take what Alexa has to more people? And our particular focus has been children and adolescents. So we are trying now to look at how do we solve this exact problem that you mentioned. Alexa might know certain information. She knows definitely a lot more about US and perhaps even UK when it comes to disability. But how do we make a lot of these kind of topics very relevant to Indian audience, Indians who are asking these kind of questions? Not just about legality, but even culturally or just the day to day lives of someone who has a disability in India is very different in terms of how much inclusive smart technology is available in India, how widely it is used. It's very different compared to US. So those are the kind of things that we are looking to solve. I'm very encouraged to learn that you already have an EcoDot in this inclusion center near Magadi. I'd love to see how it works. Please do share videos with me. I can definitely help a little more with. I can give you guides. We can do a quick training for your facilitators who are at the center on how what else they can do with Alexa. I can give you a printed guide that can be used there on how what else children can do, not just related to education, but you learn through play. So a lot of fun and games that they can use to learn more as well. So all those I can definitely help you with. In terms of particular disability pieces, definitely want to explore how we can do this further. So like I mentioned, if you can share sample content with me, because you might have seen with Alexa, it's a matter of question and answer. So what is the kind of question? Of course, people might ask the same question in multiple different ways. That we will take care of with our backend science. But if you can tell me that if this is the question, this is the kind of answer Alexa should give. If you can share some of that sample content, it will give me an idea of how you are looking at it.
Sure, sure. Now, I would be very thankful if you can train facilitators in the learning station. We also have taken a local person, so that we wanted children to gel with her, not an outside person. So fortunately, we had a very brilliant graduate from the same neighboring village. So she has been trained. So that would be a great one to optimize the Alexa use. That is how I see. So asking questions is one part of it, but how to make it more interactive for math learning. So I was watching some of the videos of using Alexa on internet, and I'll be very happy to see there is any research reports that would be available on how Alexa has enhanced the quality of learning, because that is one of the key SDG goals. So we are also looking at SDG goal 4, NEP, and learning station and linking it. So we are just connecting those dots. So that I would be very happy if it is it. I'll just share with you the uh, what kind of questions we want to put it in, Alexa. Just give me a second. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Dr. Rao, I can
Yeah.
see.
So this is the International Resource Center on Inclusion and CPR. So the main ones is of course as I said, the Veda talks, which looks at, which is one part is like a TED talk, no, which looks at some of the policies and visions and more, I would say, at the higher level of why inclusion and why disability and rights and other things. The other aspect goes down directly with to support parents, teachers, Anganwadi workers, and others to understand what they can do. So there is a workshop every month. So these two, one workshop, one international talk is an integral part of the Veda talks, and all these talks. It's a video recorded, and there is a video library that has been set up. Yes. So we it is only now 2 months, and it has already gone with about say two talks and two workshop lectures, which has gone into the Veda. So we have a huge list of getting people to talk to uh, people who are working in the field, so that they get enhanced, and that is done every month. And Tina is something uh, which is quite ambitious for us, where I have seen something called Ask Jan, United States government, which is one of the most versatile web portal I have seen on disability. It has A to Z information, and the way it is information is given, it's very easy to understand. So when we were trying to do something, then as I said, I also work with University of Washington, Seattle. They said, why reinvent the wheel? No, when government of okay, Himamshi, yeah, sure. We need to talk at some point, Himamshi, whenever you are free. So let me know, Himamshi. Then they put me in touch with the ASJAN, and when we wrote to ASJAN, the government of United States, they readily agreed and responded to use their content to build Astina. Astina revolves around RPWD Act of Government of India, which was passed by Indian Parliament in 2016, Rights of Person with Disabilities Act, replacing the older act. So what we have done is, I'll just show you. We have created the content revolving around the RPWD Act, so that people get connected to read about the information related to RPWD Act, rather than the ASJAN, where they have about 45 types of disability in the United States. So we didn't want it to confuse people in India. So we have focused on RPWD Act. I'll just show you how. Just take you. So I'm looking at Ask Alexa, where it will also help us to build this content. So these we have videos related to disability and all the information related to RPWD Act. Of course, it has the this is also an academic website, so we have a lot of information on the act and awareness material and different language material, everything. Then they can also post questions and get answers from experts, whether it could be parents or teachers or government. They can ask any question related to disability, and we are going to answer. And this is the critical part, most important part of Astina, that is A to Z on disability. So if we look at A to Z on disability, so people need to just click on, these are the 21 types of disabilities listed as per RPWD Act. We have not changed anything. As I said, we wanted that to revolve around that so that people are comfortable. So when they click on this, it starts with one self speak by a person with, say, visual impairment. He is going to talk about what is blindness. So we don't want to talk for them. So it is self speak. So for each disability, we are looking at getting these videos from the primary stakeholders, and they are going to speak on what is the disability and how they want people, others to understand the disability. That is another unique feature of Astina. Then it goes with the definitions of disability and accommodations for students, questions to consider, and for each accommodation, it looks like the work-related functions for schools, for teachers, then the limitations, assistive technology. I would say that this is like, it's like a Bhagavad Gita on blindness. They will have everything. They just need to click on that, so they get all this information that is available for them, including early childhood support, what they can do in schools, everything. On top of this, if they have questions, then we say, okay, ask us the questions, and the experts we are going to give them answers, and both question and answers goes to our question bank. This is one part of Astina, but there are many features in um, in this website. There is, you will go with all the latest happenings. Today is the World Hearing Day. So then there's a digital library, which has both video library and PDF library, which will have all the books and contents that are available, including virtual classrooms, digital library, multimedia, and FAQ with answers. So all that has gone into digital library, and new subjects will be there. And this is a partnership marketplace, and we have the technology updates. So these are some of the key features. I'll share the link, which you can see, whenever you have free time.
Sure, Doctor. Dr. Rao, I had one question. You have so content creators or content writers who are obviously putting together all this on the website. Is that right?
Yeah, we have a team from PS Institute of Technology. So where we have taken a team and we have trained them, and they are helping us in content writing. Right now, we are looking. I am giving a lot of focus on accuracy. Okay, because that is something. As I said, this is an academic website, so we are very particular about giving correct information. So a lot of scrutiny is taking place as far as giving the correct information is concerned. So that is going into the library. Okay.
Got it. I
Regarding,
had one. Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead, Doctor Rao. Finish your thought.
So where we need Ask Alexa is when we look at Ask Tina, people only who can read, they can get, they can use Ask Tina. So the limitation is, of course, there is a text to speech, and this is one website which is built by Debunk Technologies, where it is accessible even for children with learning disabilities. It is fully accessible website for people with disabilities. So, but though it is there, we felt that this information, whatever we are giving, not the whole information, but the basic information about these 21 types of disabilities and what is available, and the key factors that is there in the RPWD Act, all that can go into Ask Alexa. And when people ask Alexa about these questions, we can also link it with Ask Tina for them to get more information, because Tina has a lot of information. We cannot put all that information in Ask Alexa. Alexa gives only specific information. So, and it says, find out more information from, it gives a source where they can find. So we
Right.
want to do something very similar to that. Yeah.
So I had one question, Dr. Rao. How are you looking at the interactions on Alexa? There are two ways of doing it. Like I said, we have the factual plus subjective questions. The other way of doing it is, exactly like how you have apps on your smartphones, like that, we have something called skills. So the skills can be branded in the sense, if it's I can say, Alexa, open Zomato, and I can place an order on voice. At the same time, there are skills where, I can ask a question. I can say, Alexa, open science facts, and I can ask about something where it comes branded. In the sense, if you're looking at this as a CBR network, instead of creating an app on phone, you're looking at creating like a voice app where it is branded with CBR network. That is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is taking the questions as it is, where people don't have to say, Alexa, open CBR network, and then ask their question, where they can straight away say, Alexa, uh, tell me about hemophilia, or Alexa, what is hemophilia, or Alexa, tell me about the India PWD Act, for instance. And Alexa straight away answers, but with accreditation to CBR network to say, according to CBR network, the PWD Act of India is XXXYZ. That is one way of answering. How are you thinking through this, Dr. Rao? Which have you thought about this? It isn't necessary that you need to have the answer right now, but these are two ways that we can look at addressing something like this.
There are two things, Induji. One is, right now we are looking at Alexa to support Astina. Okay? So Astina it is mutually supportive. Like when they go to Astina, we are asking ask Alexa. So Tina will be linking with Alexa, and Alexa will be linking with Tina. No, that is how we are seeing, because there are different sets of information that will be available on Ask Alexa and Tina. It is not same. So Tina will give a lot, say, in-depth information, but Alexa is more like a torchbearer, no, which would say, okay, this is the basic information, and go, say, reach out to say Tina to get more information. That is one way of looking at it. The second one, I didn't think about, linking with, the information is coming from CBR network. Okay, we can also give something which can go to some first basic level of skill development, especially on identification of disability. I'm just when you are saying, I can visualize no the vast potential it has. So for identification of disability, we can say that I can't say that this is how we should identify as part of the Indian Medical Council, because that would be little challenging right now. But we can definitely develop. We already have, because we have something on early childhood inclusion, which we did for the World Bank, training 43,000 Anganwadi workers, and we work in all the 8 countries in South Asia. Nearly our program is implemented in 142 countries. I'll be sharing about Portage, which has been Indianized, ruralized by me, and it is one of the excellent programs for early childhood support from 0 to 8 years. That will be a very valuable support if Alexa can take that information to parents, if possible in Indian languages. That would that will create. I would say that is going to be a major game changer in the field of disability. So where we can add first level information. As I said, I am very cautious about giving too much of information on Ask Alexa for reasons what I have shared. but basic level of screening. Like how do you screen? How do I know whether my child has cerebral palsy? If that is the question, or my child cannot walk. So what could be the reason? These are some of the questions which a layperson would ask. So if we can answer that through Alexa, that would be a great one. I never thought about it. Since you are saying now, I can see the potential, and I will also discuss with the team. Where we have medical professionals and rehab professionals. So that would be a great one. Screening is something. Screening and survey, those census has done in 2011. No, not a very good job. Of course, they have tried their level best, but it is not that easy. Sometimes we feel common sense is better than trained people. So Alexa can put that common sense uh, into uh, into the knowledge base and make things and it can relieve a lot of stress in parents. That is how I see. Like my child cannot walk, my child cannot speak, so instead of using disability labels, if we go with the difficulties, no, like my child has fits, but I don't know what to do. See, all this we can go into Alexa. Right now, I'm not planning on that part of it, but we can really, because we have wealth of knowledge, experience, say, looking into these things, we can definitely take it for all languages because that would be helpful for I would say not only for India, it can help for many countries.
Got it. Thank you, Dr. Rao. So I see Tejas had a question as well.
Yeah, Tejas
Uh,
has
yeah,
this
he's posted it on the chat here. I can address that. Uh,
website that we designed. Tejas, please go ahead.
Hi, Indo ma'am. Good morning, and good morning to everyone else. I just wanted to know what I've posted in the chat, which is, if when you gave the example of Zomato, I was thinking because the Amazon Echo Dot came to the office, and we did not know about this feature that we could ask Zomato or place an order or something like that. So I just wanted to know if the two options that you gave, if we were to create a CBR network page or whatever, however we brand it, how is the general population going to be aware that this feature is available for them and this information is available to them?
So there are two ways that we currently do. It depends on the level of uh, interactivity and the development that we want to put into an experience like this. One is, of course, a simple if on your channels and wherever else CBR is present. If we say that if you have access to Alexa on your phone, on an Echo device, it doesn't matter, just say open CBR network, and you have all these different ways of using. So it's like, if you were to market an app for CBR network, it would be exactly like that, to say this. The other way of doing it is, like Dr. Rao suggested, if a parent were to say, uh, Alexa, my child can't talk, Alexa can first give a first level of information saying there might be different reasons why a child hasn't yet started speaking. You can ask for help or look for help in these two places. And then she won't do this every single time because we have certain guidelines, but say if the same person has asked multiple times, and maybe the second or the third time she'll say, do you want help to check out the symptoms? And then if the person says yes, Alexa takes that person into within the skill. If you have a small quiz like interaction to say, how old is your child? Uh, is he able to make or say consonants but is not able to form words? Is the child able to do something else? So in not too many questions, maybe like 4 or 5 questions, if there is, I won't say uh, it is a complete answer. They probably still need to go speak to a medical professional or get help. But that first level of, should I start panicking, or in some cases is it just that it's okay? Some kids just take longer to speak? Why don't you give the child a little more time, or something like that? Like, of course, that I leave up to you guys. You are the experts there, but I'm just talking about how the interaction might work. So just a couple of samples. I know we have just 5 minutes left on the call, and I have another call at 11:30. So should we just discuss what should be our next steps? For example, from my end, I will definitely share some content, videos, and links of how Alexa currently is helping children in remote regions, Bastar, Kerala, Maharashtra, etc. How we are working on education. Of course, not just inclusive education, this is for all kids that we are working with. We are also currently working with the National Association for the Blind in 2 districts in Uttar Pradesh, where we have put Alexa devices in inclusive schools, and how we are looking to use that for the children with visual disabilities. I can share that as well. I can share also these couple of topics that I spoke about, like 1 or 2 ways of handling this. Because either ways, with every answer, Alexa might not be able to say that, look at this website and ask Tina. She will probably do it every few questions, because also we need to understand a little bit about how things work on voice. People don't have as much attention span when they're listening to answers on voice. They have very short attention span. So our idea is to give information that is related to the question they've asked. If someone says, Alexa, what is hemophilia? First answer that question, and then perhaps give them the option of, if you want to learn more, you can go here. We have different ways of guidelining that, to say whether Alexa will say that you can, for more information, you can go here. Will she say it every time? Will she say it every 5th time? Will she say it every 10th time? We can figure that out. But just a couple of examples that I can put down on mail and share it with all of you. If
Sure.
that is that I can share from my end.
Based on discussions, I'll prepare a note on how we can integrate Alexa into the existing project supported by Amazon. Uh, I was just looking, I just have one small question, because I know that there's a lot of artificial intelligence interface with Alexa. Whether Alexa can do some navigation for people with disabilities. So I was looking at people with autism and people with intellectual disability, of course, visual impairment, and for hearing. Whether those tasks can be, done. Is there any document which can talk about the various features of Alexa in detail, so that we can really look and match on the need, and so link it with Alexa. So,
I can do that, Dr. Rao. I can send you the accessibility features that are currently available on Alexa. And apart from that, I can send you a couple of articles on how people with ADHD or autism have been using Alexa and how it has helped them as well. I can share some of these resources, both in terms of what features we have and how others with disabilities have been using Alexa. And that should give you some insights as well. Of course, a lot of work is still ongoing at our end, where we are looking to get more accessibility features and all of that. And that will continue. Like,
that
we
is
will
a very valuable say information. I think it's a very productive meeting, Induji. What I will do is, based on the recording and based on our understanding, I'll prepare a note and I'll send it across what we can do, because a lot of things is quite clear to support Astina. That is step number 1. And I also see the potential of Ask Alexa in identification and giving the primary support to parents. So I can see that very well. So I'll just look at what we can do, something simplified information. I'll send some of the tools what we have, and that can go into Alexa. See, actually, I was looking at Ask Alexa, like how for the content writing, it should be non-ambiguous, and it should as I have already stated about the accuracy, which is very, very important. So we have made a list of questions, so that I'll be also sharing with you. That can go initially.
Okay, please share that with me, Dr. Rao. What I will need to do at my end is to try and see a couple of things that I'm already working on. I'm trying to see what are the kind of questions related to disability that people are currently asking Alexa. That gives me a sense of, are people asking something like this, or are they asking something different that we need to cater to? And then, of course, I need to work with the team that will actually incorporate this content, and I need to work with them to figure out what do they require, in what format do they require, etc. And because you already have a team of content writers, as well as I'm guessing developers who have worked on the website, etc., one thing I can also share is, writing guidelines for Alexa. Small things like, because this is on voice, it needs to be different from reading. It needs to sound conversational. So, shorter sentences, simpler sentence structures, using very everyday words instead of difficult words and things like that, which would help a lot more. So I can share some of that as well. So I look forward to your mail. Please send me your note, and I'll respond on the same thread and send you all the pieces that I have completed.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao, I'm not in Bangalore right now, but March last week only I'm coming. Would it be possible for me to visit the Inclusion Center near Savandurga at that point?
Of course, of course. It's a pleasure taking you there.
Okay, great. We'll be in touch. If you could also share your phone number, then probably easier to just coordinate on phone for some of those pieces.
I will share the Kannada part of it, videos.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I can do. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.